Welcome to the Richard Sherman podcast. If you're new, hit that sub button. We're here to give you great NFL content. Stay tuned.
Richard, let's take it to LA. The Chargers gave the Kansas City Chiefs a problem early, and frankly, it looked like they were going to win this game, and they just couldn't get things going in the second half, and Mahomes just did his Mahomes thing. But before we get into the game, there was a huge injury that occurred early in this game. Mahomes hitting, after throwing the pick, hitting a friendly fire on his own best wide receiver one, Rashee Rice, carted off the field. And Andy Reid says it does not look good. Richard, if he's out for a large amount of time, I mean, we've seen Mahomes do it in the past. He elevates the guys around him, but how much can they withstand without Rashee Rice?
They can withstand it. I have no doubt about it. It's just so unfortunate. You hate to see that play, especially unnecessarily. And and obviously it's nobody's fault. Patrick throws the interception, a bit overthrown for Travis Kelce. They find a way to strip it and get the ball on the ground. Everybody's just hustling. Football's a hard sport. Accidents happen. You just hate to see it in a play like that. I'm sure Patrick is sick about it because he obviously never meant to do that. We wish nothing but the best for Rashee Rice and his health. Hopefully, he's able to bounce back and he's not out too long. Obviously, Andy Reid said it's not looking great. But even then, sometimes you don't know. There's a lot of tests they have to do. Sometimes miraculous things happen. They miss things, and guys aren't hurt as bad as you initially think sometimes, and sometimes it's a little bit worse. So we'll see when they decide it. But this is the kind of game that the Chiefs are mastering right now. We just talked to Trent McDuffie about the culture of this team, and when the game is close and the chips are down and everything's going wrong and guys are getting tight on the other side, and you're like, man, are we going to lose? Are guys making mistakes? You're like, they're pretty calm. They're having fun. Chris Jones is cracking jokes. And, of course, Chris Jones is making huge plays down the stretch to win his team the ball game, as he always has. I never want to hear any Chris Jones slander from anybody, really, because for this team, he's been elite. And I don't think no matter how much he's getting paid, it's underpaid for what he's doing for this team, not only in the regular season, but in the playoffs and in the Super Bowl. When a guy is helping you get rings, I guarantee you teams that are paying their guys $35, $40 million, or nobody's paying them $40 million, but $35, $33 million, and they aren't getting rings, or sitting there like, man, I'd pay him whatever he wants to get us a ring. But they're going to be able to weather it because Andy Reid is a great coordinator, a great play caller. Patrick Mahomes, after Tyreek Hill left, has shown that it does not matter. He is the engine. And you may have different wheels, you may have different you may have a different radiator, a different air conditioning unit, a different steering wheel, different seats, leather upholstery, but as long as the engine's the same, Mitchell, the car will win the race. This team will get over the finish line. They're finding ways to win ugly, the grimy, grinded out games. And that's a good sign for a championship team. I know some people are like, oh man, they could be easily 0-4 or 1-3. If was a fifth, Mitchell, and you can't think about that. We all be drunk. And Travis Kelce had a nice game, 7 for 89 yards, starting to warm up. Kareem Hunt back in the fold, 14 carries for 69 yards. These are all good signs, and it always comes back to like, hey, they can just plug and play guys. They get guys, hey, we'll bring him back. Hey, what about McCole Hardman? Let's bring him back in the playoffs, and he's going to make an impact for. Hey, didn't we have a guy that played? Where's Juju? Is Juju playing somewhere? Hey, didn't he play good for us? Let's bring him back. Hey, Kareem Hunt. Hey, we're beat up at running back. Hey, Kareem, you all right? You still in shape? We love you over here. Come over here. And again, as long as the engine's there, it seems like they're infallible, Mitchell. And he's going to continue to do it. And Justin Herbert played a solid game. You got to give him credit for being the Iron Man that he was trying to be, playing through a sprained ankle, toughing it out, but his mobility wasn't there. It led to a couple of sacks. You could tell he wasn't moving like he wanted to. J.K. Dobbins wasn't able to have the kind of rushing game he was having previously defensively. But Dupree had two sacks and 2 TFLs and a quarterback hit, but that it just wasn't enough. And you knew that Harbaugh and Greg Roman would force Kansas City to have these kind of games where it's just going to be a grinding. We're going to run the ball, the clock. We're going to run the clock. It's going to be a low scoring, grinded out last drive game. That's everything that Jim Harbaugh has been for a long time, especially his first season with a team. They're going to have a chance at the end for the most part. And unfortunately, you're playing against Patrick Mahomes. He's going to find a way to get it done. Does Patrick Mahomes have an interception issue right now? No. I mean, is he throwing them? Yes. Is throwing them? But when you really think about it, it becomes an issue when it's losing. If you're losing, he could throw for a bunch of touchdowns in their losing games, and you'd be like, oh man, he's not doing enough. So I don't think it's an issue because he's a risk-taking quarterback. He makes throws and makes decisions other quarterbacks couldn't even fathom to make. And so you're going to have mistakes here and there. That was an overthrow that he threw. Luckily, one of his offensive linemen strips the ball from the defender and they get it right back. So it didn't even end up affecting the game in a negative way. He has continued to do that, but they've won. So maybe for other players, like he's in a different category of criticism as well, Mitchell. You got to put Mahomes in a different category for praise and criticism and everything. And he's earned that. He's earned that by winning and winning in the playoffs, winning it when it matters against every single quarterback we name, the elite. We outside of Burrow, I think he's been beat by Burrow, but Burrow hasn't been in the playoffs. So we don't get to have that conversation as of late. But he's beat Lamar, he's beat Josh Allen, he beat Brock Purdy in the Super Bowl. What do we say? He beat Tua Tagovailoa in Kansas City. So when it comes to criticism of Patrick Mahomes, he gets more grace. He's earned grace, not because, oh man, he's hyped up and he's hyped this, because he's earned the grace. Winning earns you grace, and you don't win, you don't earn grace. So no, the turnovers aren't a problem right now. He deserves grace. He earned the grace. As long as his team is winning, if they're losing, even then, what you gonna say? What you gonna say about it?
You're not going to say much. I mean, like you said, Patrick Mahomes is his engine. He might have got his Pirelli tires back under him this week with Travis Kelce, Richard. I mean, everyone was concerned. We asked the question to you last week. Is this the end of Travis Kelce? I mean, he did nothing the first 3 weeks. And sure enough, it's not the end. 7 catches for 89 yards. Is it safe to say Travis Kelce is back?
Yeah, I guess it's safe to say he's back. He never left. They're undefeated. And I don't think he cares if he has 10 yards or 150 yards, as long as they're winning. In this game, they needed him to step up more, obviously, with Rashee Rice out. But if Travis Kelce's the Pirellis, then Xavier Worthy has to be the nitrous, because he's injecting that kind of nitrous into this offense. They hadn't scored a touchdown in the first half. And I want to say it might have been 2 plays before the touchdown. The broadcast had just said, oh man, Patrick Mahomes has only been held scoreless once in his Hall of Fame career. And then you look up and bomb, Xavier Worthy, touchdown. They're like, yeah, that's why you better be careful, because he has another weapon where things can turn around quick. These last few years, they've had to walk the ball down the field. They've had to be conservative, intermediate passing. Defense is running too high, keeping the ball in front of him. But now he has Xavier Worthy. So when you sit there and you say, hey, we're gonna sit on these routes, we're gonna guard Patrick Mahomes, you bet not. You better watch when one is, because this can end quickly and very bad. And that ended up being a deciding factor in the game, obviously, when they only score 17 points and 7 of them come on an explosive bomb to Xavier Worthy. So Chiefs fans have very little to worry about. They have a game in New Orleans on Monday Night Football. That'll be an interesting game. New Orleans coming off a tough loss to the Atlanta Falcons. We'll see how they respond.